Hi everyone, today's video will be on how to tune your violin. So you see me doing this in class, at the beginning of class, and I recommend that you also do it at home every time before you practice. So you are going to need, if you are a beginner watching this movie, you're going to need a tuner. And the one I like to use has a little clip. And so now some of you might not know, but this clips onto your instrument, and once it's clipped onto your instrument, it detects the vibration coming from that instrument. And that's really cool because you can have a room full of students talking or playing their violin or practicing, and that tuner will only detect your instrument. As opposed to if you have an app, for example, on your phone, that app microphone will pick up everything that's going into that phone or into that microphone, and it'll pick up the sound from other students, from other people in the classroom, and it'll make it harder for you to tune. So once you have a tuner like this with the little clippy thing, mine, for example, has some letters on the bottom. Let me explain to you what those are. So see, there's the letter C, and that stands for chromatic. That would be like a universal setting. If you want to tune any instrument, that is the best one to use. The next one would be G. I recommend that one for guitar students. G stands for guitar. The next one is B. That one stands for bass. So if you're tuning a bass, that one would be the one you would want to use. V is for violin. That's the one we're going to use for this video. This video is for beginning how to tune for beginners. So the V is going to make it really easy for you. The next setting, just so you know, is a U. That is for ukulele. So let's click back to the V for violin. So what that setting does, it's going to tell you whether you are low or high in terms of what string you're trying to tune. So it's only going to detect 4 notes: the G, the D, the A, the E. If you're going forwards, you know, the E, the A, the D, the E, A, D, G. It's only going to detect those 4 notes, and it's going to tell you whether you're way high, or it's going to tell you whether you're on the opposite side and you're way low. So it's not going to tell you every single note going up to that pitch that you want. It's just going to give you a general idea that which side of the fence you're on. So let's go ahead and start. Clip. I like to clip the tuner right here onto the violin chin rest, and have the violin facing you or facing up. And I like to hold it like this. So maybe if it's your first time or second time or third time tuning, go ahead and put it on the table. Go ahead and put it on your lap. What you don't want is the violin to fall on the floor while you're trying to tune. So make sure the violin is not going to fall down. And what you can do if you're doing this for the very first time is you can, play the string, pluck the string, okay? Do not use the bow. Pluck the string that you want to tune. Come to the tuner, move it. Come back to the string. Come to the tuner, move it. Come back to this. As you can see, that takes a little bit of time. What I like to do in class to be super fast is I like to do things almost at the same time. So I'll tune, pluck. And for that, I'm using my left hand to pluck with my thumb. When you do that, you want to make sure that your thumb, when you're plucking, after you pluck the string you want, you're resting on the next string. So you're plucking and you're plucking down, and you rest and you touch the other string. You're not playing the other string, you're just touching it. You're resting, you're falling on that string. Okay, as opposed to like plucking up. Some of you might want to just pluck that string and that's it, and like kind of go up in the air. Don't do that, because chances are you're going to hit some of the other strings. So pluck down, one string at a time. I like to start with the A, so let's start with the A. And if I can see on my tuner, it does say the letter A. Right there, you see the letter A. There's also a number 2 right next to the A. So what that number is, that means it's telling you it's the second string of the violin. Violin string 1 is E, violin string 2 is A, D would be 3, and G would be 4. So There's the second string of the violin, A. And what do you know? It's green. So when it turns green, when the little pointer is right in the middle, that's when the string is in tune. So there you can see that's a really in tune A. And sometimes it'll go back and forth. So see, now it's not in tune. But it's a little low. It's a little low. Sometimes it gets in tune. It's a little low. What I mean by low, it's on the left side. If it's on the left side and not perfectly centered, that means you're low. So what you have to do when you're low, you have to turn this fine tuner clockwise. When you're facing the violin, you turn it clockwise. Clockwise, students, means like a clock. So if you can imagine a clock, if you can look at a clock that's not digital, the clock hands, which way do they turn? Do they turn this way? Or do they turn the opposite? Do they go backwards the opposite way? So just like a clock would turn, okay, that's how you would turn this. And because I'm really close to that A, it's going back and forth, I want to turn it just a little bit clockwise. And again, it practically didn't detect anything. I'm going to turn it again just a little bit. Pluck it, same spot. You might have to turn a couple times. Remember, these are fine tuners. So what that means is that you can move them, you think is a lot, but in reality, it's very little. They're really fine right there. So I gave it, I'd say like almost a full turn. And it's still kind of going back and forth. So let me do it one more time. And right there, it looks like it's staying in tune on that A. So I'm going to pluck the string. And there's the A in tune. The next string that I want to pluck is the D. So I'm going to pluck the D. And now you see that it's D. And it's a third string, which is correct. And we are low. Again, most of the times that you're tuning the violin, you will be low. I would say 95% of the times you will be low on the string, on the tuning. So if we're low, if the needle is on the left side and not in the center, we need to turn clockwise like a clock. And I'm going to keep turning because if you see here, the needle is not even moving at all. It's very, very low. We are far away from that middle. So I'm going to turn it and I'm going to keep playing. And there, I gave it a couple of turns. Every time you turn, you're basically turning like 1/4 of a full turn. So every time you do this, just because the way the tuners are, the other tuners get in the way. Every time you turn once, that's like 1/4 of a full turn. So I gave it like almost a turn and a half. And now we are there in the center. And the D is not moving. It's staying green. When it's moving, when it goes back and forth, that means it still needs to be tuned. You still need to keep going. Now let's go with the next note, G. There's G. There's the number 4. And if we see the needle is not as low as it can be, so we're not that far away from the G. And again, we are low. We are on the left side. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to count this time. 1, 2, 3. There, I gave it 3 turns, which is about 3/4 of a full turn. And right there is a tune G. The last one I want to tune is the E. Always tune in this order. A, D, G, and last E. Because sometimes what happens if you tune the E and then your G string is, let's say, really out of tune, and then you tune the G, the E will get out of tune. And that's the reason why we have to tune in this order. The E string is the most sensitive string. So if you'll notice that in the G string, you'll have to turn this a lot. In the E string, it's not, it's very sensitive. You're going to be turning it a little and it's going to move way, way, way fast. So there's the E. If you can see, again, we're low. I'm going to turn it to the right clockwise. I'm going to keep doing it until that needle gets right in the middle. Oh, we saw a little bit of green there, but it's not staying there, so we got to keep turning it to the right, clockwise. And there's the E. And after I do that, I check all my notes. I stop the sound. Stop the sound. Stop the sound. and stop the sound. Okay? Let me give you an example. If you're